Now this is where we have witty banter while I wait for YouTube to actually make sure that we're
coming
up. So it's
So
amazing.
Yeah.
We're just going live. It's so fun.
We're just chatting. I know. I'm so excited for this.
Organic conversation. All right, we're up.
MLVC.
Excuse me, but I'm singing in one key and you're singing in another.
Poor is the man whose pleasures depend on the permission of another.
Open the door now and suffocate. Just give me a fan.
I don't trust any man who hasn't kissed another man.
I'm waiting.
All right, people, it's time to get your dancing shoes on. You're listening to MLVC. It's all Madonna, all the time.
Welcome to the party, bitches.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone. I'm your celebration tour correspondent, Stefan. It's been a week since we've done these. I feel like I'm out of practice. Today on the show, we have Jordan, who attended Madonna's first North America show of the celebration tour at Barclays in Brooklyn. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Have Madonna therapy. I need somewhere to process after last night.
Yes, we're here to help guide you through your emotions. And
there's a lot of them.
Good. So first question, how tired are you today?
I'm ragged.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
I was like, is this from, you didn't even go to sleep. You just from the tour.
I woke up like this. Yeah. I was going for a don't tell me kind of vibe last night, So this was my garb for last night. Yeah.
Oh, is that what you wore?
It was, yeah.
I was going to say, I love the tassels and the fringe on your sleeve. For those people not watching, she's wearing a sort of it's like a fringe hanging from her arms, and there's some studs on her top. Mm-hmm. It's very, we'll post a picture of it later so that way people can see. But you look amazing considering that you had only a scant few hours of sleep last night, thanks to Madonna. Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that, because I think that was the big story of today. So last night, Madonna didn't go on until about 10:45, 10:50 at night?
Yeah, 10:50. Yeah. It was late.
Honey Dijon was her opening DJ.
Fantastic. Great energy. Definitely got everybody where they needed to be, for sure. That was awesome. So.
And it was how long after Honey Dijon was over did Madonna come out? Was it about an hour?
About an hour, yeah. So I think, some people were starting to get a little stir crazy. The crowd was doing the wave to keep themselves entertained. But I didn't mind. I was kind of my adrenaline had me so wired. I was just getting kind of anxious, but I wasn't,
So had you seen Madonna before? Had you seen Madonna before in concert?
I did, yeah. The first time I saw her was in 2012 on the MDNA tour. So it's been a while, but I've been a fan since I was a kid. My mom was a Madonna fan, and always had the True Blue tape in the car. So she's been a part of my life in different instances, but that was the MDNA tour was the first time I was an adult with real money and could go see her. So
yeah, because ticket prices are expensive these days. You have to, you kind of have to commit. And I know, I always wondered as I was going to Madonna shows in the past, where I'm I wonder, are fair weather people just coming to see these shows and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars? Because it's just not.
I know
it's expensive. You have to really want to go.
Totally. Yeah. And I definitely I've been joking that I feel I'm getting priced out of my favorite hobby, because concert tickets have just gotten they were always expensive for big artists like Madonna, but lately it's insane. And the prices on secondhand websites are so nuts. But after her near-death experience, I was I don't care what it costs. We're going, we're not missing this. When she, oh my God, that scared me into financial submission. So
yeah, I agreed. And what was the crowd's reception? So of course this is, Brooklyn, it's New York, it's Madonna's home. Was the crowd just pumped when she came out?
It was amazing. I mean, first of all, the crowd was everybody there was perfectly dressed. I mean, the outfits were, I didn't mind sitting there waiting for her because you could people watch for the entire hour because everyone was just like, and it's New York. Like people go dressed to the nines in New York anyways. So like New York at a Madonna concert, people like the outfits were amazing. The energy was really amazing. I think because it was her hometown show. And again, I think a lot of people have the same feeling I did where it's like, oh my God, we almost lost her. Like this like celebratory, like enthusiasm that like she's here, she's, healthy again and is like back home. And I think since a lot of us have been watching the tour overseas on TikTok and online, it was like to be in North America for the first time too, where everybody's like had all this anticipation and build up was really exciting.
So a fun story, the way I came to find Jordan, you started a small business with a former boss of mine, Blakely.
Yes.
Blakely and I worked together at an advertising agency, and I had asked Blakely if she wanted to come on, and she said, no, but I have a really good idea of who you could bring on. And that's how I found you. I got to say, you were striking some fierce poses last night at Barclays Center. I saw those pictures.
I was living. It was so, like the people who were, like I said, the energy was great around us, but there were some people who were sort of like sitting, and I cannot imagine the ability to sit still listening to her music. Like I can't even be in the car or on a walk listening to Madonna and not be, like getting it going. So yeah, we were. And my best friend, Blakely, your old boss, we take any occasion to get dressed up very seriously. So we have a separate Slack channel at our company called Madonna, where we talk about her, and we're sharing outfits and planning for this event. So it was like a lot of
I need to get on that Slack channel. I love it. I don't have a Madonna Slack channel in my life. I need to get on that. Well, and what's so funny is when I worked with Blakely, Madonna was touring last. Like that was when I was working. She was touring for her Madam X tour. And I think occasionally I would tell Blakely, I'm like, FYI, I'm going to be coming in a little late tomorrow because Madonna, I'm seeing Madonna and it's a weekday and it's going to be a little late. So,
that's an excused absence in our company for sure. Yeah. We called it our holiday party. It was our retreat. Yeah.
That's a great holiday party idea. Like everyone should go to a Madonna show for a holiday party, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you had spoiled yourself a little bit on the set list and the videos. I
couldn't help it. Yeah.
It's been months. How could it?
Exactly. And I was just so anxious to see how she was because, I have been trying to, as artists are getting older and some of the people that I like are, and especially as some people have, I'm a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. And when Christine McVie died, I was like, I have to go see Stevie. Like, I feel this urgency. And you are sort of curious, how these people and so I saw Stevie Nicks and I was so amazed at how, great she sounds and how well these women are aging. And so I was just kind of genuinely curious because I was worried for her because it sounded like, she was really pushing herself hard for this training. And it's like, I want her to be healthy and be herself, but I'm also like, I don't want her to push herself too much. And I couldn't dance like that. And I'm in my mid-30s. Like, it's like, it's crazy. So I was just curious. And then of course the TikTok algorithm pulled me in. And so I was like, watching them. And then I was, it went from we're buying tickets to, oh my God, we need to get the best seats possible. Like as I was seeing how amazing it was and what the set list was. And there were certain things like we can get there, but the Live to Tell sequence, I was glad that I had a heads up. Yeah. Because if I had gone into that blindly, it would have been a little too heavy for me. It was like I needed to emotionally prepare for that part of it.
I felt bad. My friend who I saw it with in Paris, she did not know anything about the show. And at the end of Holiday, when they start to transition into Live to Tell, she had already started crying. And by the end of Live to Tell, she was bawling. And I was like, I'm like, should I have told her about this?
I know. Well, the first time I had heard about the Live to Tell part was I had read an article that the AIDS Memorial had shared about it.
Right.
And my uncle, who I was very close with, passed away of AIDS. And he's on the AIDS memorial. Like I have his photo up there and submitted his story. And so I'm reading the article and they're talking about it. And I'm like, for a whole paragraph, I'm like, is Jimbo going to be in the show? And then it's like, all families have been contacted to get clearance for the image. And I was like,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I was like, okay.
Right. You were almost hoping that he was just.
He can be. Yeah. I was like, you don't need to sign a release. You can have him. Like, I would have loved that. But it was like, I was glad that I had sort of a moment to prepare for that, because even so, knowing that it was coming, it was very abrupt in the show. And, of course, like, I know you've talked about like the cadence of the show with the decades and how she's been planning it out, but because it was this like the super joyful, fun bubblegum Madonna from the 80s. And then it just goes straight into that. It's so abrupt and it's so jarring. But then like the more that I was thinking about it last night, I was like, but that's a perfect way to describe that, because I imagine, I wasn't around for this when it first broke out in the 80s, but like that must have been how jarring it felt for that community, where we all were having fun, dancing, whatever. And then this incredibly tragic, pandemic comes out. And it's like, it felt like a nice tribute to that, and to show how harsh of a transition that was for people, where, within a year, all these people you just met are dead. And how jarring that was, and how quickly people died of AIDS, and how fast the disease would progress. So, but then she has to go active contrition. Like my uncle was one of 10 kids. Like I'm Catholic. So I'm like, AIDS, Catholicism, like this is a lot to unpack here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really a lot.
I know. It's a shame that, stupid Page Six chooses to pick on like, oh, she went on late. I'm like, how about we talk about the wonderful tribute she does during Live to Tell? How about we talk about the wonderful ally that she is for the LGBTQ plus community? Like none of that. Like that's not the lead story from her last night. It's she went on a little late, and I'm like, can we please focus on the message here? But that's how they always do that to her. They just want to drag her name through the mud and find a reason to trash talk her. And God bless her for standing up and doing what she does night after night. Oh, I was going to say, so you were saying how you were flagging, like you're tired from last night. Madonna's getting ready to do the show again tonight. Like, would you be able to go do a show again right now?
I thought about it too. I was like, of course, last night I'm laying in bed. I'm like on StubHub, like, what's this section look like? And then I woke up this morning and I was like, I can't believe I even considered it.
We could finish this podcast and you could still make it.
I'm dressed. I'm ready.
I know you're ready to go. I mean, hey, if I live
in Brooklyn. It's very quick.
You said you live like 15 minutes away from Barclays. I'm like, you will make it there in plenty of time. You could, if I was your neighbor, I'd be like, let's go, Jordan. Come on, You know
what? Let's just do it. Yeah, I've almost done with my Diet Coke. Maybe I'll be ready to go after that.
You'll catch a second wind and.
Yeah. But of course, you're right. It's like so typical of the type of like press and everything. They're always like going to nitpick her to death about different things. And what you're talking about, like her being an incredible ally, that was another really like amazing thing for me to see last night, and that I just thought about, because I think we take for granted queer joy and how that is so a part of popular culture now. It's so acceptable. There's a million gay bars. There's Renaissance Tour, Eras Tour. There's all these spaces where queer people can be and be free and dress however they want. And when you think about when she started, that was not the case. Like she was one of the few people giving them the space. And it made me really emotional before the concert even started to see all these gay men in, leather thongs and, straps and pink fur and glitter and just like living it up without any fear of like judgment or anything. And I'm like, look at what a beautiful community she created. Like this is so amazing. Like we owe her so much. So if she wants to come on late, if she wants it to be a certain temperature, she wants everybody to do a certain thing, the answer is yes, ma'am. Like whatever you want, she can do no wrong in my book.
Yeah, she keeps it warm, doesn't she?
It was hot. I was like, man, I would have dressed like her. Of course she's in like her, small little bustier, and I'm wearing this, which was, a thin shirt
sleeves.
That I would have brought other sleeves and boots. I'm like putting my hair up in a hair tie. Like we were it was hot. It was definitely hot.
Well,
in
there,
and
you weren't on the floor, so the heat rises. So it was probably getting, God bless those people on the second level. They must have been sweating.
Boiling. Yeah. We were in the lower bowl, section 26. So sort of like to the left of the main stage, and row like 10 or 11. So it was actually like kind of a good like eye level. It was the closest I've ever been to her. So to like see the, like lines on her thigh muscles, I'm just like, oh my God, she's a real person. Like it's like, because to me, she's like this just fantastical, magical, like ethereal being that exists in a different planet,
Right. It's somebody that you've seen on TV and on videos and movies, but it's like she almost doesn't feel touchable or tangible in a way,
Exactly. So, definitely.
What were some of your highlights from the show? Like, what were some of your favorite numbers?
Huge highlight was, so my favorite, I have like favorites from each era, of course, which is again, like I just blanket statement I loved getting to see, because when I saw her on the MDNA tour, it was obviously very heavy for that album. And she was playing a lot of like more recent, which Confessions, which, is, I could hear that all the way through and not complain at a concert. But, it was a lot of, to be able to hear, it was mostly just like medleys of some of the older songs when I saw her then. So to see full songs of so many different eras of her life was just like incredible to sort of take it all in. And then, my favorite from the 80s is Burning Up. Like that is just, my favorite, like it was like my first favorite Madonna song. And for the New York show, she medleyed it with I Love New York. I lost it. I mean, we were kind of joking about it. Blakely and I were like, I hope she plays that. And I'm like, I don't know, the set list, like it's such a production. I don't know how much variable she can do because, it's so well planned out. And, I guess since they're both guitar numbers, it was kind of an easy thing to blend in together, but the crowd went absolutely insane for that. And to hear Madonna play I Love New York, like in Brooklyn, like, oh, it was huge. It was just like, and that was, in the first act. So it just really set the tone for the whole thing. Again, the Live to Tell tribute was really beautiful. And also sometimes it's hard. I almost want to go see it again just because it was hard to know where to look at sometimes, because the production is just so incredible. It's equally theater as this concert.
Sure.
And it's like hard to see. And all of the dancers were amazing. I mean, they were so, the costumes and the voguing competition with her daughter was so sweet, and to like see that. And I love Bob the drag queen. So that was such a fun, thing to be like sprinkled throughout. Yeah. And, they were a perfect host. So that was like, just having all of that. But what was so incredible about her is even with these dancers, they were in these extravagant costumes and they're dancing in like diagonals, like acrobatic. And she's standing in the middle of all of them. And even with all of that going on, there's still no denying who's at the center. Like the fact that she can hold the center at 5'3", like she's like, my height, and this small woman in the midst of this. And it's still just this, it's like, oh my God, this is why she's a star, this is why she is Madonna, so that was really cool. And, just to like be with a friend who Madonna has been a part of our life and our friendship for so long, anytime we're in the car, that's what we listen to. And we were at our other best friend's wedding, getting, pumped up for the wedding, getting ready. I'm, playing Future Lovers for everybody while we're like, it's like just been like the soundtrack to our friendship a lot. So it was that part of it too. And her husband getting to see someone see Madonna for the first time is so fun.
Blakely's husband had never seen him, and he had never seen Madonna before.
No, that was the first time. Yeah.
And what a great show to see her, it's, I mean, if you're going to see her, that's why I keep telling everybody, I'm like, if you've never seen a Madonna show, you have to go see the show. Like it's now or never, people, like if there's one thing, like you said, if there's one thing this past summer taught us, it's like, buy that, buy the dress, take the trip, eat the cake, go see Madonna, do it.
Yeah, totally. Worth every penny. Absolutely. And then it was also really cool seeing this Eras tour. Like, I'm a huge just pop music fan in general, and having seen like these last two, I didn't see the Eras tour or Renaissance. Huge regrets about seeing Renaissance. I'm not really a Swiftie, but appreciate them both so much as these incredibly talented pop stars. And what they did this summer, and all the headlines that were like, oh, $1 billion, the billions of dollars into the economy that Beyonce and Taylor Swift put in. And, I've also, same thing, followed those along on TikTok. Like, I feel like I saw both tours just because it was like so online all the time. But to see Madonna do what she does, you're like, oh, here's the blueprint. Like, this is where all that came from, like Taylor Swift, Eras tour. This is an Eras tour. Like, this is, like, just to see like her at this point and to be able to see, the long tail of her influence is just incredible. Like, it was so evident with that. And the tributes that they did in between, that Beyonce, they have video of her in one of the transitions being like, this is who I got it. This is what taught me everything and what building an empire looked like. And, in the new Renaissance movie where they're trying to tell Beyonce, like, no, we don't have this lighting rig. And she's like, no, this is what I want,
Right.
I was listening to Britney's audiobook, and she talks about how being on set with Madonna was the first time she realized she was allowed to ask for what she wanted. And because she saw Madonna be like, no, you don't have to do this. Like, if you don't want to stay, you don't have to stay. And she was like, what? I didn't know I had a choice. Right. And just the influence she's had on all these women, like, we can just finally see that full scope. And it's like, oh God, I'm giving myself chills. It's like, it's just so cool and amazing. And
I hope that it's true. I've heard rumblings that they are filming a documentary for around the Celebration tour. And I really hope that that's true, because I think no other time than now do we need a revisit of like who Madonna is and a little peek behind the curtain to her private life. And I just think it would be so fascinating to sort of, Truth or Dare was, 30 some years ago, and to be able to like catch up to her now and see what it's like for Madonna to go on tour now would just be really fascinating. So I hope so.
Totally. Yeah. And it seems like a good narrative to have, surviving what she survived this summer, and that being part of it. I think that there was a lot of cameras. Like, I know that that's usual typical at a concert, especially for filming, like the stuff that they project on the screen, but it seemed like an excessive amount of cameras.
Yeah. No, last night I think they were filming. I don't know if it was for a tour film or there were more cameras last night than there was. Like, when I was in Paris, they had those, like, the robot cameras that were moving on their own, but they did not have the cameras that they had last night in Paris. So
they had people like in front of her.
Yeah.
Like, that was,
they had that. They had the people on stage. That's normal. But there was like, I think there was like big crane cameras, and there was more than they normally did.
And like some drones.
Which hopefully means maybe, like with Taylor Swift and Beyonce, maybe Madonna will have this tour film out before the tour ends, like,
oh my God, that would be so cool.
As Madonna fans know, usually we have to wait a little long for the tour film to come out. I think with Madam X, we had to wait about 2 years. So hopefully, like, maybe the momentum of the show, it'll be like, the last show in Mexico, and here's your tour film, and go see it in the theaters. Like, that would be amazing.
That would be so cool. Yeah, I would love that, especially since it seems like we're also going to have to wait for a biopic. I think that's not happening anytime soon. Last time I
venture to say that's probably the next project she's going to work on. I assume after this tour is over, that's her next project.
That's the next thing, yeah. But this was almost like a biopic tour in a way, because like, in between each section, there was like, I loved the video content that they had as like transitions, like to, show old film strips and things like that. And, one thing too, like, that I thought was really interesting that I was thinking about, we were talking about like, people nitpicking her. There was kind of an interesting shift of energy in the room when there was the transition with Billie Jean, and they were showing pictures of her and Michael Jackson, which is like so hard to think of one and not the other because they came up at the same time. And, you know, the princess, the queen of pop, the, you know, king of pop. And, but I was thinking about it because you could tell some people were kind of like, you know, like have complicated opinions about him. But I was like, you know, what's so amazing about her is like, it is really sad that someone like him, who was so incredible and so talented, kind of has like a complicated legacy.
Yeah.
But Madonna, even though she's had controversy, to be as public as you've been for 40 years, and most people say she's a delight, she's amazing to work with, she's, you know, all of these things, and the constant innovation, it's like kind of amazing to, and I think her legacy now in retrospect is very forgiving, where people are like, why do we give this lady such a hard time back then? Because the things she was doing that were, you know, controversial or groundbreaking is like completely normal now. You know, it's like, we don't blink when Lady Gaga does certain things, or, you know, dresses a certain way or says a certain thing, or when people sing about sex, it's like, yeah, okay, that's everybody, all pop stars sing about sex now. But it was like, I think it's just amazing how her legacy is so intact and positive and is, you know, unscathed by any major controversy. Like, she didn't blow all her money on drugs or stupid things. Like, she, you know, it was just, I don't know, it's just so positive. And I think this would be like a perfect celebration to do a video of that and to, like, you know, take all that into consideration, because it's a beautiful career that is, you know, unblemished by anything. And it's just like, on the whole, something really beautiful and wonderful. And
and I think it's a great, the tour film, or the tour itself, is a great segue to then lead us to her biopic if she's choosing
100%.
You know, it's almost as if like, okay, here's the musical version of that, and then here's the film version of that as well. So
because she does talk about it too. She's like, you know, when I came to New York, I only had $35. You know, her backstory is fascinating. Like, Blakely and I watched a VH1 documentary on the couch, and we were eating our bagels this morning of like from, you know, like 1999 or something. And she was like going around all her old New York haunts and talking about it. She lived in squalor in this one building for 5 years before ever getting famous, and like filth with eating, how she had like $1 a day with like the peanuts and the cranberry juice that she would eat. And I'm like, I would have given up. I would have not lasted 5 years hustling. And it's just such a remarkable commitment to hard work. And I mean, her work ethic is just, it's insane. Totally. It makes me feel lazy.
She had a drive. I think she still does, you know, I mean, think about that. You know, she's 65. Most people, when they're 65, they're focusing on what they're going to do for retirement. And Madonna, she's, you know, 2 years away from the official retirement age, and she's dancing on stage. She doesn't have to do that. She's got more money than we would ever know what to do with. And she, you know, I mean, she could sell a painting and, you know, live off of that for the rest of her life if her music stopped making her money, you know. But it's like, no, instead she's getting ready to entertain another crowd tonight at Barclays, you know. It's crazy to think about that. That's why when people are like, it's disrespectful that she came out late. Well, I'm like, guys, you know, you don't have to go to the show, you know.
And I can't imagine the vocal warm up and the physical. I'm like, what kind of stretches is she doing? I need to know, like, you know, like I can't imagine the prep that your body has to go through to be able to do that. And, you know, she just seemed like so happy too, like happy to be home and happy to be like there on stage with her kids. Like, you know, I loved that about the Renaissance tour, that seeing Beyonce incorporate Blue Ivy into the show and seeing Madonna incorporate her kids into the show was really beautiful. The mother and father moment with her son and his mother, you know, it was just like, it was so, you know, she just seemed happy. She seemed like happy to be there, you know, just when she did the I Will Survive acoustic cover, it was just like, she seemed truly joyed and not like, I'm phoning it in for the paycheck. You know, it was not that, which you know, some artists, some older artists, that's kind of the vibe I get, where I'm like, oh, they they've got expensive mortgages and ex-wives to pay for. So they're,
right. I mean, right. Obviously Madonna's got bills, I mean, she's an empire, her life is not cheap, but at the same time, she doesn't have to do a tour, but I love that. I'm forever grateful that she is still doing as much as she is, and I mean, this tour could be the last thing she ever did. And I think we could all be like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
That was a great 40-year run. Thank you, Madonna. I mean, I hope that this is not the end. And I hope that she keeps going for as long as she creatively wants to. And I think that she will, because I don't think obviously her creative fire, her light has not extinguished in any way. So, and thank God, I mean, because that tour is beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. But some of the moments are just so epically gorgeous to watch. And I'm like, thank you for giving us these visuals,
Oh, the visuals and the lasers. I mean, like the laser light show.
Good.
It was so good. Like, it was such, the production is like,
Die Another Day
it's like an EGOT.
Die Another Day is one of my favorite moments because of how crazy the lights are. And then into Ray of Light, where the Ray of Light has the lasers too. I mean, it's
when she's up in the thing. I mean, and speaking of her creativity, I think because of her creativity, she's been able to adapt to the physical limitations that she has right now. Like, I thought it was interesting how her and Beyonce both had, knee injuries and how physically demanding this job is on them, on their bodies. And the ways that you could tell she wasn't moving like she used to, but how she sort of has like the dancers supporting her in ways. And then the acrobatics, like in the, the flying thing, I don't know what you would call that, but
we call it the portal.
The portal. Okay. Yeah. She's just really come up with really creative ways to be like, okay, if I can't do this, I can do this in a really cool way, and that's awesome. Like, I think that's a really cool way to like adapt and not be like, well, if I can't do it like I used to, then I don't want to do it, or trying to push herself to do it like she used to. And then, there's a lot of musicians who just push themselves too hard and can't sing or perform like they can, Ozzy Osbourne's like the classic example, just like, ran down too hard, and he's been canceling his tour for like 5 years now because he just can't physically do it.
And I think that's what people were afraid was going to happen. We saw how many dates there were scheduled, and it's like, I hope she's okay physically. And and I think it's smart. The choreography is really smart. They know what they're doing, and they know, like her voice sounds strong. Her movement is great. And, I'm just so happy that she's doing it.
Yeah. Her voice was amazing. The only stuff that was auto-tuned are songs that are already auto-tuned, things that it was like the natural, that's just like what the song was. She sounded amazing, was like hitting high notes. I mean, if you had played a live track from that night and a live track from 10 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to tell you the difference, honestly. Like, it was, she really kept it going in a way that was, I think, impressive and shows how disciplined she is to her craft. Like, that's what I'm saying earlier. Like, I can't imagine what her warm up is and the way that she does take care of her voice and protects her body and protects her instrument. And, it just shows how like seriously she takes it.
I know. I always want to know, like, I mean, we've seen snippets of it in, I'm going to tell you a secret, her second documentary. We've sort of seen it. We saw a little bit more about what she does around the tour, but I'm always fascinated. Like, I just would love for a camera, like, seriously, the movie could just be following Madonna from like the moment the show ends until the moment the next show starts on the following day. Like, I just want to see, what does she do? Like,
like a cold plunge or like,
like, is she sleeping in? What does she have for breakfast? What, like, when does she eat? When does she, like, when does she start getting ready?
Does she eat?
Like, just, I'm so fascinated about, like, and I guess that's sort of that's the beauty of her art, is by her denying us a look into the real Madonna, it allows us to have this beautiful moment of when she's swooping around in that billow of smoke, to Nothing Really Matters. And it's like, she's a goddess on stage in front of us, because we don't know what she had for lunch. And we don't know how much sleep she had last night. And I think that's what sort of suspends our disbelief and allows us to not worship her, but, you know, like look up and say, this is an amazing individual.
Mm-hmm. That is like, yeah, absolutely. That's what kind of keeps her in the clouds from us, you know. But although I was joking with Blakely, we were listening to, I love American Life, because that was like when I was in high school, that was sort of my first Madonna album for me. That wasn't like one I was hearing from my mom, you know. And I'm very into yoga and Pilates. And so when we were listening to American Life, I'm like, I was taking notes, you know, like when Madonna said she does yoga and Pilates, I'm going to do yoga and Pilates. Like, that's what I want to know, because I want to know for myself. I'm like, okay, what else? Like, you know, like let me follow the Madonna, like, exercise and diet, because if I can be doing what she's doing at 65, let alone, there's like that viral TikTok of the jump squats challenge. Have you seen this? Yeah, it's like,
can you do that right now?
I could like I can do like 2 and I'm like sore the next. I need to have some salt bath, you know, like it's just amazing. Like it's so superhuman, and I love to see the new generation, but it's like, it's just so amazing to see, you know, like I said, someone who's just created like a lifetime of this dedication and this, you know, commitment and discipline, because that's how we have 40 years. And, you know, it was amazing. It's just,
agreed.
I'm still processing.
Well, I know
we were like watching documentaries this morning. I'm like, I need more.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jordan, before I let you go, it's time for a little segment we like to call the lightning round. These answers are just meant to be quick, off the top of your head, wherever you're at in your Madonna journey right now. Don't think too hard. Favorite Madonna song?
Hung Up.
Favorite Madonna album?
American Life.
Favorite Madonna music video?
Ray of Light.
Favorite Madonna tour?
This one.
Oh, nice. Favorite Madonna movie?
Evita.
Nice. And favorite Madonna look? And this can be from a music video, a tour, a photo shoot.
The Ray of Light, the video, I think is the reason I like it is it's my favorite look of hers. I love the soft Madonna, you know, I love the kind of like that new mom energy that she had at that time. Like, that's when I think she was like, she really blossomed into her like most beautiful. Like, I think motherhood made her like, brought out like a glow in her that she's had. And I think that's when I look at that, I am a straight woman, but when I look at that, I'm like, oh man, like that is like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. Like, it is just, it really gets me. So, but yeah.
Hey, I'm a gay man. And when I look at Madonna, I'm like, oh, damn, Madonna.
She transcends gender, sexuality. It's exactly. Like, there's none of that, but yeah, it's interesting now thinking about my lightning rounds. It's so funny how it's like you know, where I love talking to other Madonna fans and like hearing, because it's always like at what point she sort of like intersects into your life that you like pick up on certain things, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Well, Jordan, thanks for joining us today. Tell everyone about your new business venture with Blakely in case people want to check it out.
Yes. We started a company called Salad Sprinkles, which are toasted flavored bread crumbles that give you crunch in every bite of your salad. You can put it on your pasta. It's also surprisingly really good on ice cream. We're doing sort of a soft launch right now. We're about to start pre-orders before we do a full launch in the new year. We have 3 flavors: classic herb, chili crisp, and cornbread, which is gluten-free, all vegan flavors. And we're hoping to be in retail next year and kind of expand into the market. But you can follow us on Instagram at Eat Salad Sprinkles, and you can order free samples there and find out more and sort of follow along for our official launch. We're very excited, and it's a very beautiful little package, a labor of love.
She's showing us a bottle of salad sprinkles right now. It kind of looks like weed.
Yeah, I'm a graphic.
It kind of looks like ground up weed. Are you sure this is
You're
salad
not the first
sprinkles?
person.
Jordan, come on. This is a cover operation for something. Yeah. You know it's legal now. You don't have to pretend.
I know. There was a lot of that at the Madonna concert last night too.
I'm sure.
It was her first concert in legal weed New York. So it was
sure.
it was for the first time.
It was there before it was legal, and I'm sure now it was all over the place.
It was unleashed. But yeah, no, Blakely and I met in art school. Actually, we're best friends from art school. So we, two creative people coming together for this, and
so you've really had your fair share of salad sprinkles with Blakely.
Yeah, yes, that's true. Yes, lots of salad sprinkles. Yeah,
that's your code word now. Salad sprinkles.
Yes.
Hey, should we go out back and have some salad sprinkles? That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I think the kids these days call it pizza or something.
Oh,
but salad sprinkles is I don't know.
Well, remember everybody, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you'd like to donate to the show, we're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. We're going to be going live with people seeing the Celebration Tour in North America over the next couple of months, so you never want to miss a video. Tick that button. Jordan, thanks again for taking time out of your exhaustion from post Madonna. And remember, you can still make it to tonight's show. I
have a second wind after this, so don't be surprised if you see me on Instagram later tonight.
All right.
Thank you so much, Stefan. This was fun.
It was great. Don't hang up because we're just going to... I always feel like we need Madonna hold music while I go off the live stream. Hold on one second.
Every little thing that you say, oh, you...